What if I told you the reason you still feel small in rooms you should own has nothing to do with talent and everything to do with how quickly you react? You can stack credentials like a Jenga tower and still wobble at the first nudge. The people who look unshakable aren't louder or luckier. They're trained differently. They've built a quiet, almost eerie steadiness, dangerous confidence, the kind that doesn't beg for attention because it already owns the room. Here's the uncomfortable truth. We leak power to criticism, to comment threads, to raised eyebrows, to the old story that whispers, explain yourself or they'll think less of you. Every time we rush to justify, apologize, or overshare, we trade authority for approval. It's expensive and it never pays back. So this is the blueprint. Calm, steady, unprovocable. The heartbeat of today's breakdown is simple. React to nothing and nothing controls you. We'll keep the core ideas intact and layer in psychology and real-world examples so you can apply them immediately. Confidence isn't a volume knob, it's a signal. If your actions say, I need you to understand me before I can move, people feel that neediness before they hear a single word. Steve Jobs entered product reviews with a posture that said, we're here to decide, not to defend. Warren Buffett reads for hours, not to look smart, but to stay unhurried. Oprah learned to keep her center in rooms that tried to define her. Different industries, same signal. Calm power. Let's name the pain. Reaction addiction. You're late, so you perform a 5-minute monologue about traffic and dead batteries. Someone questions your choice, and you open a courtroom in your mouth. Witnesses, evidence, closing arguments. Online, one throwaway comment has you explaining your entire existence to a stranger you'll never meet. It feels like control, but it's actually control handed over. The first pivot is surgical. Stop explaining yourself. Not because you're rude or aloof, but because certainty speaks cleanly. Daniel Kahneman showed how fast-thinking systems jump to protect social status. Your nervous system equates misunderstanding with danger. Paradoxically, the more you explain, the less certain you sound, like thinning soup and wondering why it tastes weak. Confidence thickens when you reduce, not when you dilute. Picture two versions of you in the same meeting. Version 1 answers a challenge with a cascading paragraph, backstory, context, weather report. Version 2 says, I chose this because it's right for the goal, and stops. No flinch, no backpedal. Which one commands the room? Always the second. It's not arrogance, it's clarity with boundaries. Think thermostat versus thermometer. A thermometer reads the room, a thermostat sets it. Over-explaining makes you a thermometer. Your mood rises and falls with every glance. Dangerous confidence makes you the thermostat. Your composure sets the temperature, and the room adjusts. If you've ever admired someone who didn't rush to fill silence, you felt this. They weren't indifferent. They were unhooked. Psychologists call it distress tolerance. The ability to feel the discomfort of being misunderstood and not douse it with extra words. Stoics practiced a kind of emotional minimalism. The Japanese call a similar spirit shibumi, understated excellence. Different languages, same core. Power is lost where words are wasted. Here's your micro protocol to rewire the reflex. Step 1. Notice the urge. When your mouth gears up for the 30-sentence justification, pause. Label it. Urge to explain. Step 2. Choose a line. Keep 3 sentences in your pocket. Thanks for waiting. That doesn't work for me. I've decided to go this way. Step 3. Protect the silence. Say the line, Then silently count 1, 2, 3. The silence isn't empty, it's your signal. At first, you'll itch. Your nervous system will beg to add because let it itch. You're retraining circuitry. Ray Dalio called his 1982 wipeout the best failure of his life because it forced him to rebuild on evidence, not ego. This habit is your rebuild. Fewer words, more weight. A founder I coached was hemorrhaging credibility in board meetings. Brilliant mind, noisy presence. Every challenge met with a TED Talk. We ran a 30-day intervention, maximum 5 sentences per response. No explaining unless asked. Answer only the question. Same brain, different signal. Investors didn't suddenly love his ideas more. They trusted his conviction. The person who needs the least control over how they're perceived often ends up with the most influence. Naval Ravikant talks about permissionless leverage, code, media, capital. The behavioral equivalent is permissionless presence. You don't wait to be granted certainty, you carry it. If explaining once kept you safe, this isn't about shame, it's about upgrades. The scripts that protected you can keep you small. Reading without reflection is like planting seeds in concrete. Nothing takes root. So ask, where do I over-explain most? Work, family, online? That's your first training ground. This week's challenge is simple and surgical. Catch 3 moments you'd normally over-explain. Replace with 1 clear sentence. Hold the silence for 3 beats. Then journal what actually happened. You'll see something counterintuitive. Your world doesn't collapse when you stop over-justifying. It organizes. People who relied on your explanations will adjust. People who thrived on your insecurity will protest and reveal themselves. Both are useful data. Confidence isn't cosplay. You'll still apologize when you're wrong and thank people generously. But you'll stop trading paragraphs for permission. The click you'll feel, like a lock turning, is authority returning to its owner. From here, we move to the engine beneath every signal you send, your inner voice. Before your mouth opens, your mind has written the script. Tone, posture, micro gestures, everything downstream of the private conversation you're having with yourself. Call that conversation the thermostat of your confidence. If it's set low, I'm not enough. I always mess up. People probably don't like me. No resume can warm you up. Set it high. I've handled harder. I belong here. I learn fast. And you carry quiet heat. People feel without knowing why. Carol Dweck and James Clear have both shown the brain doesn't believe what's true. It believes what's repeated. That means confidence is a language, and you can become fluent. Buffett warns that the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. Those invisible sentences you whisper each morning compound like interest. So we install a 30-day operating system. First, catch it in the act. Most self-talk isn't loud, it's sly. I just got lucky. Hope they don't find out I'm not that good. Label it story, not fact. Radical transparency with yourself turns melodrama into data. Replace I always bomb presentations with I was unprepared last time. I'll be ready next time. Second, rewrite with bridges, not fairy tales. Don't jump from I can't to I'm unstoppable. Use believable edits. This is hard, but I've handled worse. I've failed before and kept moving. Precision beats positivity. Use the 3-line reset spoken out loud each morning. I respect myself. I can handle anything that comes today. I don't need anyone's approval to move forward. It's mechanical. not mystical. Training your nervous system to associate your reflection with stability, not judgment. Within 2 weeks, your cadence slows, you stop overfilling conversations, and your body stops bracing. Third, let your body lead the mind. Before high-stakes moments, build a power anchor. Shoulders back, jaw relaxed, chin level, slow inhale, slower exhale. Then your 3 lines. Amy Cuddy's work shows posture shifts hormones, lowering cortisol and boosting assertiveness. Elon Musk often lets silence do the talking. His presence says, "I'm comfortable being misunderstood for a while." That comfort is power. Fourth, make repetition identity. Identity-based habits mean you don't say, "I want confidence." You say, "I'm the kind of person who stays calm under pressure," and then you act that way once, twice, 10 times, until your brain updates your ID card. Finally, replace proof with practice. Confidence isn't the result of success, it's the cause. Michael Jordan missed 9,000 shots and still kept shooting. Each miss was a rep in courage. Your 7-day protocol: morning, say the 3 lines; midday, catch and edit 1 self-critical thought; evening, record 1 sentence of evidence you kept your composure. You're earning your own trust back. And once you trust your inner voice, you stop chasing external noise. You pause longer, you respond slower, the room adjusts to your rhythm. Next, we'll fortify the foundation beneath that voice: self-respect. Without it, confidence is costume. With it, confidence is skin. But for now, hold this. When you stop explaining, your presence hardens into signal. When you train your inner voice, your signal becomes a standard. And standards, quiet, consistent standards, are how rooms start to feel like they're already yours. Respect comes before confidence, always. You can't feel powerful if you don't first respect yourself. Without self-respect, confidence becomes theater, something you perform rather than embody. But when you truly respect yourself, confidence becomes the background hum of your existence. Steady, effortless, undeniable. Think of how you treat people you respect. You listen, you value their time, you trust their decisions. Now ask, do you treat yourself the same way? Most don't. We cut ourselves down with internal criticism, break promises to ourselves, let people cross our boundaries, and call it being nice. But here's the truth. The world mirrors how you treat yourself. If you disrespect your own time, others will too. If you allow chaos to crowd your peace, people will assume it's allowed. Confidence starts when you declare, "My life deserves structure." Each small act of self-respect becomes a deposit into your internal wealth account. Waking up when you said you would, keeping your word even when no one's watching, saying no when you mean it, those aren't random habits. They're signals to your subconscious that you're trustworthy, and self-trust is the currency of confidence. When you can trust yourself, you stop performing for approval. You start walking with quiet authority. Picture this. You decide to exercise. You don't negotiate with the alarm clock. You just move. That simple act tells your brain, when I commit, I act. It's not about the workout, it's about proof. Every fulfilled promise builds certainty, and certainty radiates. On the other hand, every broken promise, every "I'll start tomorrow," silently erodes your authority. That's why confident people seem calm. They have receipts. They don't need validation because they already have evidence. Let's connect this to behavior science. B.J. Fogg in Tiny Habits explains that success doesn't grow from massive effort. It grows from consistency. Self-respect operates on the same compounding principle as interest. One act of integrity might not change your life, but 1,000 tiny acts will. The most dangerous form of confidence isn't loud self-belief. It's quiet evidence built through disciplined repetition. Now, layer in psychology. When you hold boundaries, dopamine spikes in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making. Your brain literally rewards you for choosing yourself. That's why every no strengthens you, even when it feels uncomfortable. Confident people know this intuitively. No isn't rejection. It's redirection toward alignment. So how do you start building this respect? 3 rules. Rule 1, keep small promises. Don't aim for heroics, aim for consistency. If you say you'll read for 10 minutes, do it. If you say you'll go to bed by 11, close the laptop. Self-respect begins with follow-through, not fireworks. Rule 2, don't negotiate your standards under pressure. Every time you lower them for convenience, you teach yourself that your boundaries are optional. Confidence dies in that negotiation. Rule 3, audit your environment. Are you surrounded by people who respect your no? If not, reset the room. Self-respect thrives in environments where peace is valued over performance. Now, let's talk about approval, the silent killer of confidence. You can't build unshakable self-worth while addicted to applause. It's a paradox. The more you chase approval, the less of it you actually feel. Why? Because every compliment becomes another hit you depend on, not a truth you own. The confident person enjoys praise, but isn't owned by it. They appreciate recognition, but never rely on it. Look at Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women alive. Early in her career, she was criticized for being too emotional on camera. Instead of chasing approval, she leaned deeper into authenticity, turning her vulnerability into her brand's backbone. Her lesson: stop editing yourself to be palatable for others. Start amplifying what's real. Let's be honest. Approval feels good. The problem is dependency. The moment your worth depends on likes, titles, or validation, you've built confidence on sand. One bad comment and your castle collapses. The strongest people detach from that addiction. They move from needing approval to giving approval to themselves through actions that match their values. Here's a practical test. Before you post, commit, or speak, pause and ask, if no one saw this, would I still do it? If the answer is yes, that's alignment. If not, that's a red flag. Confident people live in alignment. Insecure people live for applause. Warren Buffett once said, "You can't buy reputation. It takes 20 years to build and 5 minutes to ruin." The same applies internally. You can't buy confidence. It's a reputation you build with yourself. And every time you trade authenticity for approval, you damage that reputation. There's freedom in indifference. Not cold indifference, but peaceful indifference. The kind that allows you to say, your approval is optional. My respect for myself is not. But approval's cousin, rejection, is equally misunderstood. Most people treat rejection like proof they're unworthy, but rejection is actually proof you're in the arena. No one gets rejected sitting on the sidelines. Every no is a filter removing what's not for you. The confident learn to use rejection as a forge, not a wound. When J.K. Rowling was rejected 12 times for Harry Potter, she didn't collapse, she calibrated. When Elon Musk nearly went bankrupt launching SpaceX, rejection wasn't the finale, it was feedback. The world often says no before it says you're ready. Psychologically, rejections trigger the same pain centers as physical injury. But here's the reframe. Every no that doesn't destroy you strengthens your emotional callus. Eventually, rejection stops feeling like death and starts feeling like data. Not this path simply means try another. There's a quote by Dalio: pain plus reflection turn progress. That's rejection's formula. Each failure that you process without panic adds a layer of certainty that no approval could ever match. So, how do you metabolize rejection into power? Step 1, expect it. If you never get rejected, you're not risking enough. Step 2, detach identity from outcome. Rejection is not a verdict on your worth. It's feedback about fit, timing, or approach. Step 3, recycle rejection into resilience. Every door that closes trains your persistence muscle. The more you face no, the lighter it becomes. The most unshakable people have a simple mantra: rejection refines me. Once you believe that, no one can truly humiliate you. Now combine these three forces: self-respect, rejection resilience, and independence from approval, and you start to walk differently. Your silence speaks before your mouth opens. People sense your boundaries, feel your steadiness, and adjust their tone accordingly. That's the invisible aura of dangerous confidence. To anchor this, run the mirror test. Every night, stand in front of the mirror and ask 3 questions. Did I keep a promise to myself today? Did I say no when I needed to? Did I handle a no without losing my peace? If you can answer yes to even 2 of those, you're building compound self-respect. And one more truth: when you live by respect, you automatically build leadership. People follow those who don't flinch for permission. You become a reference point of composure. The next stage of confidence builds directly on this: silence as power. The ability to stay calm and unreactive isn't suppression, it's sovereignty. Because when you learn to respond with silence instead of emotion, your presence becomes the loudest voice in the room. In the next section, we'll unpack how silence, applied intentionally, turns confidence from a mindset into an atmosphere. Silence isn't emptiness, it's energy under control. The untrained mind fills space because it fears invisibility. The trained mind understands stillness is strategy. The calm person in chaos always wins, not because they know more, but because they waste less. That's what separates those who lead from those who react. True confidence begins when you stop needing to prove your point in every room. When you can hold a pause without anxiety, you move from being another voice in the noise to becoming the silence everyone listens to. In a world of endless shouting, silence becomes a rare signal. It says, "I'm not performing, I'm present." We've been conditioned to believe that power is loud, that the one who dominates the conversation wins. But look closer. The leaders who influence most are often those who speak least. They don't rush. They don't explain. They don't chase agreement. They wait, they observe, and when they finally speak, the room leans in. That's not coincidence. It's biology. People subconsciously equate calmness with certainty. When you pause, when you breathe before replying, when you hold eye contact without flinching, your nervous system signals safety. And safety, in any context, emotional, professional, or social, is irresistible. Silence is the mirror that reveals others. Talk too much, and you hide what's real. Stay quiet, and people start to project themselves onto you. their insecurities, their motives, their patterns. That's why interrogators, negotiators, and high-level leaders all train in controlled silence. It's not about manipulation, it's about observation. The less you react, the more people reveal. Next time someone criticizes you, don't rush to defend. Let the words hang. Most will retract or soften, not because you won, but because your calm made them self-aware. Silence disarms ego. There's a method used by FBI negotiators called the tactical pause. Chris Voss teaches agents to hold a few seconds of silence after key statements. Why? Because silence creates tension, and people rush to fill it, often revealing their true intentions. You can use this everywhere, in business meetings, arguments, even at home. When you refuse to mirror chaos, chaos loses power. But silence isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about showing that you don't panic. The difference is massive. Silence used defensively is avoidance. Silence used intentionally is composure. Warren Buffett's interviews are master classes in this. He pauses before answering, sometimes for a full 5 seconds. That delay isn't hesitation, it's control. It says, I don't speak from impulse, I speak from understanding. That calm rhythm commands respect more than any loud declaration ever could. To build this muscle, use the 3-breath rule. When you feel triggered by criticism, disrespect, or confusion, pause and breathe. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 6. It buys you time to choose logic over reaction. Neuroscience backs this. Slow exhalation activates the parasympathetic nervous system, pulling you out of fight or flight. Dalio calls this the pause that separates emotion from data. The moment you can pause instead of react, you shift from being controlled to being in control. Silence doesn't mean weakness, it's selection. You're not ignoring conflict, you're choosing what deserves your words. Think of speech as currency. Every sentence you spend should yield clarity, not chaos. The person who always speaks loses leverage. The one who waits, listens, and responds rarely builds gravity. The less predictable your reactions, the harder it is for others to manipulate you. Stoic philosophers practiced premeditatio malorum, visualizing worst-case scenarios so when conflict arrived they weren't surprised. You can do the same. Mentally rehearse criticism, rejection, or misunderstanding. Imagine staying calm. That rehearsal turns silence into muscle memory. Silence is also a mirror for yourself. Spend 5 minutes each morning in complete stillness. No phone, no input, no distractions. Observe your thoughts without chasing them. This is mental fasting. Just as fasting cleanses the body, silence detoxes the mind. You start noticing which thoughts are yours and which belong to the noise of others. Over time, you develop a sense of sovereignty, a clear line between external chaos and internal calm. In communication, silence creates rhythm. The best speakers, Martin Luther King Jr., Steve Jobs, Barack Obama, used pauses as punctuation. The space between words made each sentence land harder. Try it. In your next presentation, say one key sentence, then pause. Let it breathe. Listeners will interpret your calm as confidence. And remember, silence is not just what you withhold from others. It's what you protect within yourself. Not every comment deserves a reply. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. The confident person saves energy by refusing to wrestle with noise. Every time you choose stillness over argument, you preserve emotional capital. That's the compound interest of self-control. Here's a reframe that changes everything. Every reaction you withhold is a statement. It says, "My emotions belong to me, not to this situation." Imagine how much energy you'd save if you didn't explain, argue, or overshare every single day. That energy could fuel creativity, focus, or peace. Power doesn't disappear, it's simply redirected. So practice restraint as a daily discipline. When provoked, stay still. When doubted, stay silent. When pressured, slow down. Each time, you reinforce authority through presence. Your calm becomes your command. Silence teaches you to value precision. Once you master it, your words become scalpel sharp. People will stop interrupting you, not out of politeness, but because they know when you finally speak, it matters. You become the voice everyone waits for. And that brings us to the next stage of dangerous confidence. How your body becomes the first language of your authority. Because before you even speak, your posture, your breath, and your gaze have already announced who you are. Confidence doesn't start in the mouth, it starts in the spine. In the next part, we'll decode how posture, micro-movements, and controlled breath turn invisible confidence into visible leadership. Before you ever open your mouth, your body has already spoken. People read you in the first 3 seconds, how you walk, how you stand, where your eyes go. Long before you say hello, they've decided if you belong. That's why true confidence starts not with words, but with posture. The unspoken signal that says, "I am steady." Your body doesn't lie. You can tell someone, "I'm confident," all you want. But if your shoulders cave, your gaze wavers, your movements fidget, no one believes you, not even you. Behavioral psychology calls this embodied cognition. Your physical stance influences your thoughts. Sit small, feel small, move tense, think tense. But stand tall, breathe deep, lift your chin, and suddenly your mind aligns with your body's story. You can literally train confidence into your nervous system. Here's the science. Expansive posture increases testosterone, the hormone linked to assertiveness, while reducing cortisol, the stress hormone. Amy Cuddy's famous power pose study showed that 2 minutes of standing tall can rewire your state. This isn't arrogance, it's calibration. Your body is a broadcast station. Posture is its frequency. When you occupy space calmly, you send a message. "I'm allowed to be here." That's magnetic. People sense composure the way animals sense safety. So let your body speak first. Walk into rooms like you belong, not with swagger, but with calm certainty. Shoulders back, chest open, head level, no rushing, no nervous scanning, just steady pacing that says, "I move on purpose." Because confident people don't hurry, they arrive. Practice this. Before entering any space, pause at the door, breathe once, and align your spine. That small ritual flips your brain from survival mode to command mode. Eye contact is another silent amplifier. Most break it too soon, signaling insecurity. The fix isn't to stare. It's to hold calm, warm eye contact for 1 second longer than comfort allows. That extra beat says, "I'm grounded." It's subtle, but powerful. A single second of stillness in a restless world. In meetings, while speaking, glance around the room slowly, not darting. That unhurried motion tells the subconscious of everyone watching, this person controls pace. Confidence is rhythm. Your gestures, pauses, and tone sink into a pattern that others instinctively follow. Leaders are often those whose energy feels like gravity. They don't chase attention, they draw it in. It's the difference between heat and light. Heat demands notice. Light simply reveals. Body language is a loop. Your posture shapes your feelings, and your feelings shape your posture. Break the loop in your favor. If you wake anxious, don't scroll. Stretch. Open your chest. Breathe deliberately. Your mind will follow your body's lead. When you move intentionally, you send a memo to your subconscious. We're safe. We're ready. The confident body doesn't seek to dominate. It seeks to harmonize. It enters a room without apology, speaks when necessary, and listens like it owns time. It's the energy you feel when Warren Buffett sits silently through a meeting, relaxed, observant, completely present. Or when Barack Obama pauses mid-speech, letting silence do the heavy lifting. Their stillness says, I'm not in a hurry, because I'm in control. To practice this, mirror the 3 anchors method. 1. Ground your feet. Feel weight distributed evenly, not on toes or heels. 2. Relax your jaw. Tension here translates to perceived defensiveness. 3. Slow your exhale. Long exhalations drop your heart rate and steady tone. These anchors reset your entire physiology in under 30 seconds. Next time you feel nervous before a presentation, don't tell yourself, be confident. Instead, fix posture first. Confidence is not a thought, it's a habit of presence. Every deliberate movement adds to your invisible resume, the one people read before they ever hear your voice. And remember, your body language is teaching people how to treat you. Slumped shoulders invite interruption. Upright posture commands respect. Nervous fidgeting signals uncertainty. Controlled stillness creates curiosity. That's why you never see confident leaders rushing to explain or over-gesticulate. They already know stillness is louder than movement. So train in micro moments. When you walk to your car, walk deliberately. When you speak on the phone, sit upright. When you think, breathe with depth. You're wiring calm into your muscle memory. Over time, composure becomes default. That's when your body becomes a message without words. I respect myself enough to move deliberately. Now let's extend this idea beyond posture into leadership of your emotions. Because confidence isn't just about appearing composed, it's about staying composed when everything around you demands a reaction. The shift from reacting to leading is the final threshold between temporary calm and permanent power. Most people live in reaction mode, pushed and pulled by circumstances, tone, and opinion. Someone criticizes them, they defend. Someone praises them, they glow. Someone ignores them, they shrink. But the moment you stop reacting and start setting tone, you graduate from participant to leader, not in title, but in spirit. The person who leads their emotions leads their world. So, in the next part, we'll break down exactly how to move from reacting to leading, from being controlled by situations to controlling yourself in every situation. That's where confidence stops being survival and becomes sovereignty. Here's a truth most people never face. The reason you feel drained isn't because life is chaotic, but because you're reacting to chaos that isn't yours. Every reaction costs energy. Every impulsive reply, every defensive argument, every emotional spiral is a tax on your power. Confident people have learned the discipline of non-reaction, not because they feel less, but because they value peace more. You stop being reactive the moment you realize every reaction is a choice. And that's where leadership begins. Leadership isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling the atmosphere inside yourself so strongly that others start matching it. When you can stay composed while others panic, you stop being another participant in the storm. You become its eye. That's why the most powerful people in every industry share the same trait: emotional discipline. They pause when others rush. They listen when others shout. They think when others freeze. Between every event and your response lies a small space, and that space is your freedom. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Most people never use that space. They let emotions close it instantly. But when you widen it, even by one breath, you step into leadership. Ray Dalio, after losing everything in 1982, learned this the hard way. He said, "Pain plus reflection equals progress." He built systems to manage emotion before emotion managed him. That's self-leadership. Not pretending chaos doesn't exist, but designing rituals that keep you calm inside it. So here's the mental framework. Stop reacting, start leading. Every time something provokes you, ask, what energy would serve this moment best? Not, how do I win, but how do I lead? That small shift changes tone, posture, and presence instantly. The calmest voice becomes the anchor of every room. People unconsciously defer to composure because it signals clarity. The one who's least moved by emotion usually sees most clearly. Think of Nelson Mandela. After 27 years in prison, he walked out not angry, but steady. Cameras flashed, voices shouted, emotions surged. He smiled. That single choice, peace over bitterness, set the tone for an entire nation. That's thermostat leadership. A thermometer reads the room. A thermostat sets it. When you're reactive, you absorb everyone else's chaos. When you're confident, you regulate the temperature. Here's how to train it. First, practice the 1-second rule. Before replying, breathe once, just once. That second rewires the pattern. It's tiny, but it moves you from instinct to intention. Second, use what I call the pilot's protocol. In aviation, when turbulence hits, pilots follow a simple rule: aviate, navigate, communicate. In other words, control the plane first, then decide direction, then talk. Apply that to emotions. When chaos hits, stabilize yourself first. Breath, tone, posture, then decide what matters, then speak. The order keeps you from crash landing emotionally. Third, adopt emotional standards the way you set business goals. I don't raise my voice when I'm angry. I don't explain myself when my values are clear. I don't make decisions while triggered. These aren't limitations, they're codes. Once defined, they become automatic responses that protect your energy. Elite soldiers and top athletes rely on preset protocols for this exact reason. In pressure, you don't rise to your level of motivation. You fall to your level of training. The next principle, shift from control to creation. Reactors manage chaos. Leaders design clarity. Don't waste time fixing what's on fire. Spend that energy building systems that prevent the fire. Stop controlling people, start controlling process. Ask, what can I create today that makes tomorrow smoother? That's how compounding confidence grows, not from reacting better, but from needing to react less. Then comes patience. Impulsive people confuse speed with progress. Confident people understand that slowing down is often the fastest path forward. Pilots say, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. The market rewards patience, not panic. Buffett's fortune came not from reacting to volatility, but from outlasting it. Every decision he makes is filtered through emotional stillness. Confidence has nothing to do with prediction. It's all preparation. Next, learn to reset instantly. The 1-second reset is simple. Drop your shoulders, exhale once through your nose, and think one word: lead. That's it. That 1 second breaks emotional patterns faster than hours of therapy. It's a signal to your brain: we're not reacting, we're choosing. Over time, this rewires your nervous system to default to calm under pressure. Finally, remember this truth. People don't follow you. They follow how they feel around you. Your calm becomes their calm. Your focus becomes their focus. Emotional leadership isn't about giving orders. It's about being the emotional gravity others orbit. And when your peace is stronger than their panic, you no longer need to convince anyone. You simply lead by being. Now we move into the arena where confidence is forged: discomfort. Because nothing reveals your emotional discipline like the moments when everything inside you screams, escape. The next section uncovers how to turn discomfort, the very thing most people avoid, into the training ground where dangerous confidence is built for life. Confidence doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in resistance, in discomfort, in the cold friction where your limits get tested. That's the paradox few understand. The more you chase ease, the weaker you become. The more you embrace discomfort, the calmer you get. Because discomfort isn't punishment, it's data. It tells you exactly where growth is hiding. Your brain's main job is survival, not excellence, which means it mistakes unfamiliar for unsafe. But the unknown isn't danger, it's expansion. Neuroscience calls this the comfort bias. We're wired to repeat what feels familiar, even when familiar means stuck. The antidote is deliberate exposure. Small doses of discomfort that stretch, but don't break you. That's how confidence is built. One act of courage, repeated until the body forgets how to panic. You'll never feel ready, so stop waiting. Readiness is a myth dressed as logic. Ray Dalio wasn't ready to rebuild Bridgewater after losing everything. He did it anyway. Oprah wasn't ready to launch her own network. She trusted her preparation. Michael Jordan didn't feel ready before every game. He just refused to let fear vote. The difference between average and extraordinary isn't fearlessness, it's the delay between fear and action. Confident people shorten that gap until hesitation disappears. Every time you act while afraid, you collect evidence that fear isn't fatal. Discomfort is proof of progress. That tightening in your chest when you try something new, that's not anxiety. That's adaptation. Your nervous system is expanding its range. Confidence is built by gathering evidence that you can survive that expansion. Think of each hard thing you do as a rep in the gym of your self-trust. Every rejection survived, every awkward silence endured, every failure faced calmly adds a new muscle fiber to your emotional strength. Do it enough times, and your default state becomes unshakable calm. Soldiers, athletes, CEOs, they all train the same way. They don't eliminate fear, they familiarize themselves with it. Start small. Call the person you've been avoiding. Present the idea you've been hiding. Speak up when it feels risky. The brain doesn't need grand gestures to change. It needs consistency. Each small stretch shifts your comfort zone by 1 inch. Add those inches daily, and you become unstoppable. The formula is simple. Discomfort, X repetition, resilience. Pain isn't the enemy, it's practice. The Stoics called it amor fati, love your fate. Every challenge is a chance to sharpen awareness. Pain suffered consciously becomes strength. Pain resisted becomes suffering. There are two pains in life, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. One weighs ounces, the other weighs tons. Choose the lighter one. To train your nervous system, use controlled discomfort. End your shower with 30 seconds of cold water. Breathe through it. Don't tense up, stay calm. That teaches your body the difference between discomfort and danger. Or try box breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. It's the technique Navy SEALs use to stay calm under fire. Every breath teaches composure under chaos. Over time, your nervous system learns that discomfort doesn't equal death. It equals data. Reframe failure. It's not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Thomas Edison said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times, I found 1,000 ways that didn't work." That's mastery. Every failure refines your accuracy. In finance, in art, in relationships, the same rule applies. Feedback is the tuition you pay for wisdom. The faster you process feedback, the faster you evolve. You can also schedule discomfort. Don't wait for life to challenge you. Build the habit yourself. Afraid of rejection? Send one bold message daily. Hate confrontation? Have one uncomfortable conversation a week? Fear public speaking? Practice in front of 3 people. That's exposure therapy. Small, repeatable doses that rewire fear into familiarity. One day, what terrified you will feel like routine. Discomfort is not a sign you're failing. It's the feeling of transformation. Every time you push through it, you prove to your brain, we can handle this. That's the root of dangerous confidence, the calm conviction that no environment can overwhelm you. By now, you've learned to control your reactions, your silence, your body, your boundaries, and your discomfort. The next step is mastering detachment, the art of staying centered when outcomes slip beyond your control. Because the real test of confidence isn't how you perform when things go right. It's how steady you remain when everything doesn't. The higher your goals, the less you control. That's the silent cost of ambition. More success means more uncertainty. The market shifts, people change, plans collapse. Most people spend their entire lives fighting for control they never truly had. Confident people do something different. They surrender what they can't command and master what they can. That's detachment, not apathy, not carelessness, but clarity about where your influence ends. It's emotional minimalism. When you stop trying to control everything, you'll finally gain control of yourself. Detachment is not giving up, it's giving space. The Stoics called it ataraxia, inner calm, no matter the storm. Buddhists call it non-attachment, moving through life like water, adapting without losing shape. Warren Buffett calls it temperament. You can't control what the market does. You can only control how you react to it. Confidence built on control is fragile. Confidence built on detachment is permanent. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You show up fully, do your part, and let results land where they may. Because obsession with outcome is the fastest route to anxiety. You cannot be confident if your peace depends on everything going perfectly. The paradox is that the moment you stop needing things to go your way, they start to. Calm attracts order. Desperation repels it. Picture this. 2 investors face a market crash. The first panics, refreshes screens, sells in fear. The second reviews data, breathes, waits. Same event, different outcome. The difference isn't intelligence, it's detachment. The second investor trusts their process. That's true confidence, knowing that short-term chaos doesn't change long-term direction. Detachment turns turbulence into information, not panic. To practice detachment, start with this truth. You are not your outcomes. You are your process. Whether you win or lose, you're still you. Success is feedback, not identity. Failure is feedback, not identity. Detach from both praise and blame. They're just mirrors reflecting perspective, not fact. When you stop measuring worth by reaction, you start living from reality, not reputation. The mind loves control because control feels like safety, but chasing it burns energy. The confident don't fight uncertainty, they train adaptability. Ray Dalio built Bridgewater on one principle: embrace reality and deal with it. That's detachment in action. He doesn't try to bend markets to his will. He builds systems that survive whatever markets do. You can do the same in life. Build habits, not hopes. Design routines that keep you grounded no matter how unstable the world feels. Morning ritual, workout, reading, reflection, anchors that stay when external plans don't. When you detach, you stop negotiating with every outcome. You show up, execute, and let go. That's how you stay consistent while others burn out. It's how Warren Buffett can wait years for the right deal, or how Serena Williams can lose a match and still smile at the next serve. They've divorced self-worth from scoreboards. That's emotional freedom. There's a practical way to train detachment. Process over praise. Each morning, set 3 goals you can control: effort, focus, presence, not results. When you end the day, judge yourself by those metrics only. Did I show up fully? Did I give honest effort? Did I stay composed? If yes, you win, because results are delayed reflections. Input is immediate truth. Then comes the art of release. Before sleep, visualize handing off every unfinished task, every worry, every what if to a box in your mind. Close it. This symbolic ritual trains your subconscious to stop looping on control. Over time, your brain learns peace on command. Detachment isn't coldness, it's warmth without neediness. You can love someone deeply without trying to own their choices. You can pursue success fiercely without needing to force timing. That's what makes your confidence dangerous, because it's independent. You're free to care, but you're never captive. When you live detached, you move differently. You negotiate without fear. You risk without panic. You love without possession. Your silence becomes stronger, your presence heavier, because nothing owns you. Not applause, not rejection, not uncertainty. You operate from abundance, not anxiety. That's where the journey leads, to a state where you no longer need to prove, control, or predict. You move through life with ease because you trust your foundation. That's the final stage of dangerous confidence, living as if you need nothing, even while building everything. In the final part, we'll close the loop: how to live in complete self-sufficiency, where your peace isn't a performance, but your default. The kind of inner wealth no one can take, tax, or touch. There's a moment in every person's journey when the chase ends, not because you've stopped dreaming, but because you've stopped begging life to validate those dreams. That's the birth of true freedom, the kind of confidence that no market crash, breakup, or failure can touch. It's when you live as if you need nothing, yet appreciate everything. That's not detachment. That's enlightenment through experience. You've built yourself layer by layer, silence, posture, self-respect, resilience, and now you stand in the rarest state of all, enough. Enough means full, but still curious, calm, but still hungry, unshaken because your roots are deep. The world mistakes needlessness for arrogance, but it's the opposite. It's gratitude matured. The person who no longer needs to prove anything stops consuming endlessly and starts creating deliberately. They stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, does this align with truth? They move through chaos like water, flowing around obstacles, reflecting light, never losing shape. That's the essence of dangerous confidence, not dominance, not noise, but quiet mastery. When you need nothing, everything gravitates toward you. It's physics. The calmest presence carries the most pull. That's why people listen to Buffett, even when markets burn. That's why the calm teacher in crisis controls the room. It's not charisma. It's control over need. Need breeds urgency. Urgency breeds mistakes. Freedom from need breeds power. You're no longer chasing opportunity. You're attracting alignment. You're not playing to win. You're playing because it's your nature. The richest people in spirit think in decades, not days. They understand that life expands for those who give it time. There's no rush when you trust your process. That's what living as if you need nothing feels like. A quiet rhythm where effort is sacred, but outcome is irrelevant. You don't pray for ease, you pray for endurance. You don't beg for clarity, you create it through consistency. Every morning becomes a negotiation with peace, and you win it before breakfast. The ego will still whisper, you should have more, be more, prove more. Smile at it. It's just old software running on a new system. You've outgrown it. The new you doesn't shout back. You simply continue walking. You stop reacting to noise because silence has become home. You stop comparing because you finally trust your lane. You stop fearing rejection because you've learned that peace doesn't need permission. This is the stage where you lead effortlessly, not through position, but through presence. People will call it charisma, luck, even mystery, but you'll know it's simply the absence of fear. An absence of fear feels like truth. Every word, every pause, every breath you take starts carrying weight because you're no longer talking to impress, you're talking to express what's real. That's what makes this level of confidence dangerous. It can't be bought, copied, or faked. It's built in the dark, earned in silence, proven in stillness. The people who reach it don't announce it. They simply walk lighter, speak slower, and see farther. They've learned that wealth isn't measured in accounts, but in composure. That respect isn't demanded, but radiated. That peace is the ultimate ROI. And when the world tests them, they don't crumble, they smile. Because storms no longer intimidate the ocean. If you've come this far, remember, dangerous confidence isn't about never doubting again. It's about never abandoning yourself when you do. It's the discipline of returning to calm again and again until calm becomes identity. Every silence you hold, every no you protect, every discomfort you face is a deposit into an account no one can touch, your inner wealth. So breathe. You're already enough. Act not from hunger, but from overflow. Live not to be seen, but to see clearly. And when the world tries to shake you, remember this one sentence. I don't need to control the storm. I am the calm inside it. That's the final form of dangerous confidence. Peace so stable it feels like gravity. Silence so deep it becomes signal. Presence so complete it needs no defense. You've built it. You've earned it. Now live it.